Hello, I'm Adrian, and welcome to Fight Scene Breakdown. To round off all the fight scenes in Batman vs Superman, today we're taking a look at the final battle against Doomsday. Zack Snyder knows how to expertly stage and shoot really exhilarating action sequences, and this one is no exception. While light on the fighting choreography, the action is very slickly presented. One of his most used camera techniques, and one which several directors such as J.J. Abrams have used, is doing a quick zoom in on the action, also known as a crash zoom, just as if it were being shot with a real camera. While this technique was rampant in the 70s, it really died out during modern film and has made a resurgence with practically every big CG action scene, as by simulating a camera movement, it makes the shot seem more real, and this one is no exception. He uses it multiple times and usually to great effect. It can highlight an impact or draw attention to a moment. Before Doomsday is ignited into full power, everything is cast with a deep shade of blue, but once things get intense, everything is brimming with orange. The camera is very mobile and follows the action to a T, eliminating the need for rapid cutting. For example, this sequence starts off with a medium of Superman, which quickly turns into a close-up of his laser vision. We then swoop around for an over-the-shoulder shot of Superman using the blast against Doomsday to only pull back for a wide where we can see our two fighters engaged in a Kamehameha energy battle. Instead of breaking up that sequence into a series of 4 separate shots, we get them all in one swooping majestic shot. Such is the beauty of using CG in your fights. You could place the camera wherever you'd like. Snyder, as is well known, is a huge fan of using slow motion, but here we mostly get that effect to show off Wonder Woman looking awesome. The editing is perfectly paced, as although the choreography in certain shots may be a little quick, you're never lost and there's a really good flow to the fight. It's a bit of a drag to suddenly cut to Lois Lane and peril in certain sequences, but it was necessary in order to contrive the need for Superman to hold the spear and set up his death. But I digress a bit. In sum, both the cinematography and the editing in this sequence are top notch. I elaborated on this when I did the breakdown of Batman vs Superman, but just in case you haven't seen that episode, this fight is full of what I call presentation fighting. In other words, most of the fight is either a series of tackles, single punches, or throws without any complex choreography. That being said, it's still pretty cool to watch. Superman begins the bout against Doomsday by defending Luthor and throwing a solid right hook on the monster. He is then grabbed, punched, and flies against the structure, which collapses. He recuperates, launches a classic Superman 2-punch, but is grabbed and thrown against the structure, which collapses. Superman then recuperates a bit, Doomsday grabs him, then throws him against another structure, which collapses. Begin to notice a pattern? I must say that after the beautifully visceral combat for Man of Steel, it was kind of disappointing to watch such an underwhelming bout with two supremely overpowered individuals. After the military learns that bullets aren't going to stop Doomsday, Superman decides to fight him in space. But unlike in the animated version where the world knows that Superman is on their side and lets him fly off into space in order to pull off an epic tackle that results in a crater, in this DC universe the president nukes at the drop of a hat and Superman is left dangling in space until Wonder Woman shows up to cue the Trinity shot. Batman is a master martial artist, as he extensively demonstrated in the warehouse scene, but against superpowered beings that can resist nuclear explosions, he can't really do that much. So his first order of business is to duck and cover from Doomsday's energy blast. Wonder Woman deflects the blast and Superman takes it like a champ. Now we finally get into some close quarters combat as Miss Prince leaps into battle, deflects some debris, and slices at Doomsday's foot but misses. Superman then quickly swoops in to give him a death stare. Taking advantage of Doomsday's captivation with Superman, Wonder Woman burns Mr. Day's calf with her shield, setting up Superman's tackle. Wonder Woman once again tries to go in for an epic leap attack, and misses when Doomsday dodges at the last moment. After devastatingly effective left straight punch, Wonder Woman goes in for the left calf once again, this time slicing it with her sword. A car is no match for her legendary shield, and Doomsday then grabs Superman to launch it to an epic combo resulting in... no, just kidding, he just throws him for the umpteenth time. But he does set up an awesome flying knee kick, something I never imagined a giant creature from space would do. Batman watches in awe as Doomsday punches Wonder Woman with immense power, following up with an energy attack which is easily deflected. Now we go into an epic energy attack battle straight out of Dragon Ball Z as both our attackers are trying to overpower each other. Doomsday wins, but Superman can't continue to fight as his selective super hearing cues into Lois Lane. The monster remembers Batman is among the living, but luckily the Dark Knight has his grappling gun to avoid his energy blasts. Using the same lead grenade he used against Superman, Doomsday is unable to find him in the debris. Wonder Woman refuses to accept that frontal attacks don't work on Doomsday and gets punched in the face once again, but the Amazonian princess is one very tough woman and shrugs off the attack with a smile. She blocks a monster's hammer fist with her sword and counters it by slicing his hand off, which unfortunately grows back in seconds. She lassos a monster, Batman uses his remaining kryptonite grenade on him, and Superman goes in for the kill, sacrificing himself in the process. It's the final battle. The Trinity must unite to take down the ultimate threat. It's a really neat concept, but as it's been elaborated on in multiple videos and essays and podcasts from several authors around the world, it was terribly rushed. This is Superman's most powerful villain and one of his most legendary story arcs, and they decided to cram it in the last 40 minutes of the movie. Also, it was particularly contrived to have Superman throw the spear, since Wonder Woman would have easily gotten it, or as how it should have ended, epically demonstrated, Batman himself could have thrown the spear without the need for Superman to die. If they wanted to do the death of Superman's story arc, they should have done that arc. His death not only comes off as very contrived, but doesn't really mean that much since he appeared so little throughout the film. The Ultimate Cut rectifies some of this as you spend more time with Clark Kent, but if you want a character to heroically sacrifice himself, you need to set it up so there was literally no other possible way to prevent that situation. And as it's been elaborated on, there were dozens of other options in this particular situation where Superman did not have to sacrifice himself. It's an unfortunate effect of trying to cram so many plot points into one film and seeing the film as only a part of a larger puzzle instead of its own individual awesome piece. Superman needed to die so they could justify a reason for Suicide Squad to exist and give Batman more importance in Justice League. But that sort of thinking is terribly pragmatic and hurts the quality of the individual films, as Marvel learned the hard way when they shoehorned an insane amount of expositional dialogue and scenes into Iron Man 2. What we have here is an expertly done action sequence. Perhaps the choreography in parts can be underwhelming and the setup for the fight as well as the outcome may have been contrived, but what cannot be argued is that it's a very exciting, well shot and edited sequence overall, and it's a true joy to see DC's most famous superheroes duking it out against Doomsday on the big screen. What did you guys think of the fight? Which fight would you like me to analyze next? Subscribe and you can follow me on my Twitter, Instagram, and brand new Facebook fan page, Godzilla Rex. See you next time.